Around 6 years ago, my buddies and I had a little tradition during our senior year of HS where we'd stay out all night skating, exploring all kinds of spooky areas. And this was before any of us had a car, so everything was traveled by foot. One night in particular, we had ventured out over an hour from our usual exploration areas, and we came across a heavily wooded that we hadn't been through before. The time had to have been around 2 or 3 a.m., and just looking into those woods gave me an incredible feeling of unease that I had never felt before. My buddies were determined to go through it, but I decided against it, and instead told my friends that I'd just skate, walk around, and meet them at the gas station on the other side. It took me around 30 min to skate around the entire area. I waited at the exit of the woods for about 15 min before crossing the 4-lane street that led to the gas station. I asked the clerk if 3 guys, other teen, had come in. He tells me no, so I head back out to wait in the front. 10 more minutes pass before I can hear heavy footsteps moving quick from behind the gas station's main building. Next thing I know, I see all 3 of my buddies, sweaty, out of breath, and looking like they've witnessed a murder. We head into the gas station and sit at the small seating area. They then go on to tell me that somewhere halfway into those woods, they heard strange noises behind them, and when they turned around to look, they saw a tall white figure with red eyes staring at them. They said they freaked out and just took off. As they neared the end of the woods, they could hear the leaves and branches rustling as if it were chasing them. They kept running until they crossed the road, separating the woods from the gas station, and once they were at the back of the gas station, they looked back and could see the figure just standing at the edge of the woods, unmoving. The way they described was that it only vaguely was shaped like a human, more like a Sasquatch Bigfoot type creature, but it was white in color and had piercing red eyes. Honestly, I had never seen anyone so distressed in the way that my friends were. They genuinely seemed terrified, and that night was of the last times they ever wanted to stay out all night. I think about this night a lot, even to this day. I once worked as a housing inspector. A new client had purchased a house, and I was tasked to go and inspect it. From the information on hand, the house was a very old home, built 1908, and was quite the derelict. I was in no hurry to inspect the house in my honest opinion, so scheduled it for my last stop of the day. I did my jobs as per normal and then made my way to the house. I parked my car on the road, and as I walked up the path, nothing extraordinary jumped out at me. It was a rundown 3-story house. For me, it was just your run-of-the-mill wreck. I guess the buyers had walked through and seen some potential in the home, but I could see none. It was getting on to dusk, and as I didn't have the key for the front door, I made my way around to the rear of the property to access the rear door. As I came around the back of the house, I noticed that the back door itself opened up into a large kitchen. What caught me at that point in time was, as the sun began to set behind me, I could feel a drastic change of air temperature. It was late summer, and I assumed this was the reason for the drop in temp. I turned to look at the sunset, noting that the cloud cover gave the sky a nice crimson hue. I turned back towards the door, and that's when I saw it. On the other side of the kitchen was a door that led into a hallway, which in turn led to the front door. The front door had colored glass. But what was standing in the darkness of the hallway to this day still makes the hair of my neck stand up. There was a silhouette of man. Judging from the build, I could tell it was a man. There was no distinguishable features to see, just a black silhouette. What happened next froze me to the spot. Where his face was, 2 eyes opened, and they were the color red. Unblinking and unmoving, those eyes glowed red, and I could tell they were looking right at me. At first, I couldn't look away. Those red orbs seemed to stare straight into my soul, and I found myself transfixed, staring back. Every fiber in me told me I should run, but I could not move. I stared unblinking at the red eyes, and they in turn stared unblinking back at me. My eyes began to water, and I blinked to clear them, but as I opened my eyes again, the silhouette was gone. I freaked. I quickly ran around the house, jumped in my car, and sped home. What would normally take me 25 minutes to drive home only took me 10, as I couldn't get away fast enough. In my report, I wrote that the house and some structural issues that could not be remedied, and the house was eventually torn down. In its place is now a housing unit with 6 3-bedroom homes. I have heard stories from tradesmen who have been on site at night and all have said that they felt a cold chill every time they go there. I did look up the history of the property, but nothing unusual jumped out at me. Up to that point in my life, I never believed in the supernatural or the paranormal. Even now, I am skeptical of most things. But I know what I saw was pure evil, and I have never had an encounter like it since.